Today, I'm going to tell you about this concept I coined, which I believe could help you very much in your pathway to success. And I'll tell you what you can do to avoid this, and how you can actually get to success. I've named this thing the Occupadium. You might be asking, what is the Occupadium? Let me first explain what it does, more or less. The Occupadium is a crisis for many young people, and even a little bit of older people, who are forced into quote-unquote slavery for their work because of the work's main emotions, greed and fear. And what I mean by greed and fear, so you see your first paycheck, right? You want to spend it because, it looks pretty big. So you spend it. And you spend a lot of it because you're being irresponsible. And then you're in fear that you can't pay your bills, or that you lose something. So you work harder, and then you see a paycheck. And then you get scared again. And it's just a cycle and a cycle and cycle. And so this concept is for those who are willing to work harder than the rest to escape this so-called matrix. The Occupadium exists to put out people's dreams and to set their lives in a not so courteous path. The majority's pathway to success, which most of the time they know doesn't work, and yet they still rely on it. And sometimes it barely even gives them anything after decades of work. So, the Occupadium is a work cycle, more or less. And it's a work cycle that won't really get you very far in the end. And you might be thinking, why does this matter to me, the viewer? Well, I assume that you don't want your work, your ambition to be just tameable by a subpar paycheck. Like, you have some major ambitions and goals inside your head. Even if you realize it, even if you don't realize it, you do. And you don't want it to be attainable at, it isn't going to be attainable at Hardee's or your local mall. I don't think you want to spend 7 more years at some weird job. You only have, and the main thing about this is you only have so much time in your life to work. So you should spend it in a more efficient manner. And the thing that seems so weird to me from outside viewing in is how people complain about depression, anxiety, yet they don't really do anything about it. I know, the major stigmatism is oh, I'm too something to do something. Depression exists for you to change your life. That's why it exists. That's why sadness exists, more or less. And yet, you don't do anything. And my final say on why does it matter to you is, if you work harder now, you will have more success later. Then, if you want to work harder inside your job, that is perfectly fine. But wouldn't you rather try to get rich doing something you love instead of something that's mediocre to you, or even downright depressing? And I get that there has to be, people inside the workforce that do stuff they don't like. But not everyone has to be. So, now you're probably thinking, if I did a good enough job, or if, I placed you, how do I get out of this situation? Well, you might be thinking, business. That's probably what comes to your mind. But that's only right partially. Even if you do own a business, and it's somewhat successful, that still doesn't mean you're not a slave. Because that's the main point of it all. We don't want to be slaves to anyone. You want freedom. Freedom is like the overall goal, is the ultimate dream. That's what we all want when we dream of being successful and checked and getting all the girls. We want freedom, we want choice. That's the main obsession that everyone wants. And I can't personally tell you, I can't give you a plan to make you rich. That's one of the joys of finding it out. You have to find it out yourself. That might sound daunting to many of you. And it is daunting, even to the people who made it. But they still stuck to what they believed in. And the way to become rich now isn't through college. It isn't through a lot of things that people are telling you. It's to have opposing beliefs and have them be right and act on them. And it's so easy to share your beliefs because we can just become creators and synthesizers. This is the new gold rush. Now, let me tell you some nuances about this theory, which I thought there's obviously more, but it's just a few that I'm gonna tip on, a little write off. One might be, what if I want to live a life of mediocrity? Because, success isn't for everyone. Not everyone is built to be hardworking. Well, if I was to give you a more anything, like, they're probably not even the video of the people who say this. But if for some reason you are, the only thing I would say to you and send you on your way is do what you want, but don't expect anything. Next few are, not everyone will achieve this. That's completely true. That is 100% true. Not every aspiring person will get to the very top. And even the hardest working people don't get to the very top. No. In order to get there, you need to be doing it in a more efficient manner. And it needs to play into you. Because a lot of success now is based on personality. Because we could easily find the cold hard facts, or play the game ourselves, or listen to, the beat or something of a song. But we really care about, the personality that was put in there. And next nuance might be that isn't sustainable. For many people, this might not be a very sustainable thing. And that's just like the mediocrity thing. You might be able to get there, but if you can't sustain it, then you're gonna. It's like the people who peak after high school, right? They're sad for the rest of their lives. And if you still want that one peak, a good time, but you know you can't sustain it, then I recommend you learn so you are able to sustain it. And my very last one that I wrote is freedom is incredibly hard to acquire in these trifling times. And the reason I wrote this is because now, in the age we are, it is incredibly hard to get freedom. And that comes with the goods and the bads. When we've tossed off control, but still held some control, we delegate some of our tasks to other people. And even the most burdensome of society gets fed, gets clothed, gets housed with minimal work. And by minimal work, I mean 40 hours a week. And that shouldn't sound like so many hours to you if you want to do this. And the reason why freedom is so hard is because everything that's around us is designed to keep us in a certain fashion, change us in a certain way, make us do certain things, make us not do certain things. So for one person to go against those millions of testers, scientists, all those people, it is quite the spectacle. However, it is most definitely possible. There's many, many people that go through life a millionaire at 21. There's billionaires. B with a billion. There's 20-year-old billionaires. They did not get that by having no choice in what they did. They did not get that from going to college. And my next point here, I'll tell you a little bit more about the subject. Where does the Occupadium start? It starts before your very birth, where everyone at the top of the world tells people below them the quote-unquote way to get rich, or a way to have a nice, quiet, peaceful life, even though the middle and poor class are struggling through stress and triumph. And most of us know it is a lie. And you're force-fed information, and you know lots of it's a lie. But that good information, even some of the bad, it's somewhat hard to decipher what's real and what's good. I admit, there's lots of people who don't really know what they're saying, or just want to see the world burn, who will tell you, like, good sounding information that isn't really good. Like, they have no basis on if it's good or not. But let's be real. The average person who has like 4 degrees isn't as well off as they seem. Most, if not every, early millionaire did not go to college. Lots of them even dropped out of high school. Some of them didn't even go to school at all. And most of every person who does go to college, they just end up with lots of stress, very little overall information for those 4 years, and a tremendous amount of debt. Like, if you're here in the United States, then you have to pay $40,000 a year just to go to a school. That is slightly less than the average working wage just to go to school. And on my very last topic, how can we stop people from going into it? This crisis, this epidemic. Well, you could recommend my video. Or you could just tell them the short of it. With like context they already know. Like, oh yeah, billionaires didn't save their way to success. And the average working wage would take them 126 years just to buy a highly priced car if they saved all their money. Or if you want to do it in your own way, that is 100% fine. 100% fine. I don't think that's 100% fine, no. But as long as you delegate information correctly and never try to screw anyone over, that is the best way to provide information.